So the symptoms that I experienced back in November of 19 were a really, really high fever. And I'm not prone to high fevers at all. So it was really high fevers, aches, a lot of aches, chills, a sore throat that lasted for nearly a month or so, something that I just could not get rid of. And I did have some mild hallucinations as well at the time. At that time, while I was going through it, I am prone to allergies. So allergies, which sometimes turn into sinus infections, and that's been my adult life. I am not prone to sickness. I am a very healthy guy. I'm a very fit guy. I eat very well. I'm very in tune with my body. When some of those symptoms started coming on, I just wrote it off as it's November. It more than likely is going to be my standard either allergy that turns into a sinus infection or just a sinus infection. So I have my own treatments. I have some antibiotics that I usually go on, and I started taking a Z-Pack and really just was going to wait it out. He looked at me, he looked back at it, he goes, "You're positive, you have the antibody." And I said, I knew it. He said, "But the timeline doesn't work." I said, "Whose timeline doesn't work? You can't tell me that I wasn't sick. I know I was sick just because we believe that it came to the States in January. That's the first time someone tested positive for it in January. That doesn't mean it wasn't around here before that. It's only A or B. Either I was sick in November when I believe I was, when all the evidence, anecdotal evidence matches up to the fact that I was sick in November, or I was asymptomatic in January or February. I seriously doubt that. Another note that I'll tell you is that the test that I took has two different antibody results. It has something called the IgG and the IgM. The IgM is the more recent, which would have shown that that antibody is more recent in my system. My body more recently fought the coronavirus. The IgG is the longer lasting one, and that's the one I tested positive for.
I want to be clear for our viewers. You've said that you are in touch with your body. You've drawn the conclusion that it's likely A, but you're not doing so under any sort of medical expertise. You are not a doctor, to my understanding, correct?
No.
Has any doctor confirmed your suspicion that it is A and not B?
That's impossible to do, unfortunately. And I've been very clear. I've been very clear that A, I tested positive for coronavirus, and I've been an advocate for corona antibody testing. And I've also been very clear that it is my suspicion, it is my sincere belief that it was absolutely in November and not in January or February. I've also received dozens and dozens of emails and probably hundreds of social media comments of people sharing my story and sharing their own stories with me, thanking me for coming forward, because we were overrun from what I'm told in November and December with people very, very sick that tested negative for flu A, tested negative for flu B, tested negative for strep, that were going repeatedly to their doctors in November and December, and that were told that they don't have a flu, they just have bronchitis, they just have a bad cough, or it's a bad cold. And I think that we just weren't expecting it then, so therefore the doctors didn't know what to call it or what to expect. I by no means, in saying that I'm a doctor and saying that I have proof positive, but it's very, very, in my opinion, it's extremely likely, based upon my own evidence, based upon my symptoms, based upon my timeline, and based upon the hundreds of other people who also believed they were very, very ill at that time period. I'm just somebody that believes what a lot of other people believe. The difference is this: I'm a mayor of a city in New Jersey that's been ravaged by coronavirus. I think that gives me some credibility to speak on this, and I think I have a voice. I'm here to say that I believe I was sick in November. I believe there's a lot of evidence that supports that, and I believe there are thousands, if not tens of thousands, that concur with me on that.